Hey everyone, and welcome to a socially distant video. Um, I've been working a lot on the game and improving the user interface and user experience, but also implementing some of the foundational stuff needed for gameplay. And what we have in front of me right now is the online manual that I'm working on for the game. Now it's very work in progress, obviously, because the game itself is work in progress, but what I'm doing with the online manual is as I implement features, I'm documenting them and how they're used both as a player and as a developer. I do want the game to be moddable, so you can add custom content to it through a mod, and that's kind of important to have documentation for. But what I've documented in this video and what I'm going to show you guys is a system I came up with for navigating through the game's user interface without needing to write any C# to do it. See, when you're writing a mod, you very rarely need to write C#. You should be able to recreate the entire game's campaign mode or career mode, whatever you want to call it, without writing a single line of .NET code that I didn't write myself. That's how powerful I want content mods to be. And they do have a custom scripting system for things like missions called SDSH, or Socially Distant Shell, and long story short, it's based on the in-game command interpreter, and thus based on Bash. Now, some people might not like that, but I don't care. We're gonna leave it at that. But one common issue you're going to run into is how do you get the player to be able to do certain actions when you start a mission, or how do you make it so that you can embed clickable links in chat messages and things like that that actually go somewhere in the game. And what I did is I implemented a system to set that up, and it's called Shell Navigation URLs. It's a modding feature and it's a development feature, and it's very important to how the game works. Now, this wiki article on the manual kind of goes over how to program them, how to work with them in both in C# and SDSH. But one of the really crucial things about this is it works with Text Mesh Pro markup. So you can see an example of the syntax. Basically, it's a link tag, and you put in the URL inside the link tag. So it's link equals and then the URL you want to go to, and then the text that you actually want to be clickable. And then when the player clicks on that text, it will follow that link, and then the game will do something based on what the link tells it to do. In this case, this is a shell link, and it has tool/terminal in it. And this tells the game, hey, I want you to tell the game's graphical shell to switch to a tool, and then I want you to switch to the terminal specifically. So what this will do is when you click on the link, as the text says, it will open a terminal. So let me show you guys kind of how this works in game and in practice. So we're in Unity right now, and if I start the game, now obviously there are three ways to deal with these links. The first way is through C# itself, which you don't need to see. I mean, it's C#, you know how it works. But the second way is through SDSH, and we can simulate what that will be like through using this developer menu, because this developer menu lets you enter any link in and then tell the game, hey, process that link. So for example, what I could do is I could do shell :/tool/mailbox, and it'll switch to my mailbox, and then I'll see my user inbox. Because the game understood that link and said, hey, oh, he wants me to switch to the mailbox. So I'll open the mailbox, and then you'll get the email user interface. Now, the next way that you can obviously use this is through Text Mesh Pro, like the wiki says. And in this case, what we have is we have an example mission email. This is one of the ways that missions can be delivered to the players through email messages from NPCs. And in this case, this NPC sent us a request to hack into their friend's social media profile. And, you know, it doesn't matter why we need to hack into it or anything like that. It's just an example mission, but, you know, we can start the mission, obviously, and that's great. However, crucially, the NPC gave us some extra information we might want to look at. As in, they linked us to their profile, and you'll see that there's this text here that's blue and underlined. It's a link, and if you click on it, it will take you to the in-game internet browser, and it'll take you to the social media. Now, there's a bit of a bug. It's supposed to go to a username, but I haven't figured that all out yet, so it just takes you to the home page. But nonetheless, this proves that it works, because you can click that link, and it does take you somewhere. Now, that's Text Mesh Pro markup. The third way that we can do that, or that we can use these links, is obviously through SDSH. When you start a mission, generally you're going to run some sort of SDSH shell script. And in this case, this mission, hits a breakpoint. What did it do? Oh, the mission got marked as complete. Okay, cool. But in this case, it actually switched me to a terminal. Because, well, if I stop disorienting you guys, and by that I mean I will continue disorienting you guys, if we go to the example mission that I created for that, this is the script. So up here is the ID of the mission, mis_tutorial_example. Then there's the metadata, and this is just how you specify the mission name, the giver, so the character who gave you the mission, the way the email, or the type of the mission, it's a main mission, and the start type is email. You get an email message, and that lets you start it. And then this is the email method, and in the email method, all we do is we echo out some text. The first line of the email is hello $player_name, which will get substituted with the player's name. It's a variable. That's where this gets kind of powerful, as this language supports these kind of variable substitutions. It's a lot easier to write than in C#. And then the next paragraph is echoed out, and all it is the NPC asking, hey, could you hack into this person's profile? And then what it does is it embeds a link using Text Mesh Pro markup. So it's the same as on the wiki, except that we're escaping out the quote signs because of the programming language requiring us to. But you can see we have this opening link equals, and then in quotes, escaped quotes, web://flock.social/friend username. And then it closes the link tag, and then inside the link tag is my friend's social profile, and there's the closing link tag. And it just ends up working. So this is where that link comes from. It's just markup. I didn't have to program that. I just had to put markup in. And then here's an example of how we actually start one of these links from within a script instead of through markup. It's just running the shell exec command and then specifying the link to execute. And in this case, we do shell://tool/terminal, and then that will switch to the terminal. So if we go back to the wiki, we can actually see a lot of what we can do. So, for example, this is basically the exact same script, except that in the code, I actually added email delivery to it. So, you know, you can see how this is put together. But, one of the things that a mod developer can do if they're creating a script mod is a mod that adds actual C# code to the game, as opposed to a content mod, which is what I wager most people will be making. But if you really need to add some sort of custom URL handler to the game, you have to use a script mod, but it's a very easy API to use. and it's all documented here. The first thing you do is you create your scheme handler, which is just a class that implements the correct interface. And then the game will just send you URLs whenever you implement this. And you do have to tell the game what URL scheme to send you. In this case, it's going to be example. So anything starting with example : / will get sent to the my example scheme handler. And this method up here will get called. And then the way this works is if you go to, or if you tell it to run example : / test as a host name, because that's how URIs work, it will log some message to the console saying this is a test. So that's what the example here is showing. This is how a script mod would add custom URL handlers to the game. You probably don't need to do that as a mod developer unless you're like adding a custom program to the game or something and you want the player to be able to navigate it or navigate to it through links. Like, I don't know. I struggle to find examples because most of the link stuff in the game will be done by the base game anyway. But anyway, as I continue reading this, well, skimming this, there's another section built in URLs that tells you all the different kinds of URLs that you can send to this user, or to this URL handling system. So the first one is obviously web URLs, and these are website URLs. And they work the same way as website URLs in real life, in real life, except that instead of HTTP or HTTPS, I decided to make it web to distinguish them from HTTP URLs in the game, because my user interface widget system can actually handle HTTP URLs and open them in your real web browser, so there'd be a conflict there. So from a game design perspective, I actually made that distinction, and it works. But yeah, you can navigate to any in-game website using this by doing a web : / and then the website. There's also the mission emails, or mission links, so you could create a link that starts a mission or abandons the current mission. So that's something that you can do. And keep in mind, this is stuff you can do from TextMesh Pro markup, from C#, or from a script, like an SDSH script. So it's really powerful. These are not just clickable links, these are actual commands you can execute. Now, the next is the desktop navigation, and this is the shell : //. So there's your ability to switch between tools. You'll eventually be able to manage tabs in the current tool, because now you can have multiple tabs in like the terminal and stuff like that. So this is how you would do that with the navigation URLs. There's the ability to show and hide different elements, just like the player would. So you can hide things like the network viewer and stuff like that, or toggle them or show them. Eventually there's going to be the city URLs, and this is really powerful because now you can have URLs that link to physical locations in the game world on the map. So you can have it focus on districts, you can have it focus on physical buildings like businesses, and you can have it focus on network nodes, like an internet service provider or something, or someone's phone on the map, so you can track them. Then there's the network view, which is net : //, and this is kind of the crux of how the network scanning system works in the game. The way it's going to work, right now you do have Nmap, and you can scan networks and devices for like hackables and stuff like that, but what I plan on doing is as you scan those networks and devices, they will appear in your network view. And these net URLs are how the game will accomplish that by basically telling the network view to open different networks. So network discovery in the game is handled through this system, which is handy. But basically you can have it show the player's network, you can have it show another network that isn't the player's, and then you can have it show the player's device. You can have it show some network based on a domain name, like moneybank.com. That's just an example. You can show a device on a network based on host name. Basically, you can use host names, you can use IP addresses, and you can use narrative identifiers. And a narrative identifier is something else completely, but they're important to know about when you're modding the game. Anyway, next is the mailbox URLs, and this is powerful too. You can have it view the player's mailbox. You can have it view specific NPC mailboxes, like if you hacked into, or like if the player hacked into a mailbox, you can have it view that one. And you can have it focus in on specific messages inside a mailbox based on narrative identifier. And that's really, really powerful. I'm actually going to use that in the base game, where if you get a mission from, or if you go to the city map, you'll be able to see like your friends on it, like your in-game friendly characters. And if they have missions waiting for you, they'll show up on both the map and on email. And I can have the map actually link to the relevant email for the mission, which is really nice from a UX perspective. And then there's obviously this same thing, but for chat. So you can have, you can go to the player's DMs list. You can go to a specific DM in the player's DM list. You can go to a guild, which is a group chat in the game. Think like Discord, except that in Discord, group chats and guilds are different things, but in Socially Distant, guilds are group chats. You can go to a specific channel within a guild. And then you can do all of that for non-player users as well. So think of hacking into your friend's Discord account, and now you can see all their messages. You can do that in-game with an NPC. You can see their chat logs, which is going to be really cool. The only thing with that is, with a player, you can navigate to any chats that the player can join, and the game will automatically join you to them. So if I were to link to a guild, it would automatically join that guild, which is going to make programming the game a whole lot easier, by the way. But for an NPC, if you try to join a guild that they're not already in, it won't join it. If you try to open a DM they're not already in, it won't do it. And if you open an NPC's chat conversation, it will be read-only for the player. They won't be able to send messages, and that's by design. The idea behind NPC chat logs is you're supposed to read them to find information. But as a player, obviously, you can talk to people. And the reason NPCs are read-only is because the dialogue system physically cannot handle you being an NPC. You need to be a player. It's just how it works. So that's the game design thing. And then there's the system settings. So settings : // You'll rarely use this, but this is useful in rare situations where you want to link to a system settings page, like the graphics settings or audio settings, or you want to link to a very specific settings field, like the game's resolution, or music volume, or enable/disable bloom. Most of the time that'll be stuff that I do, not you, as a mod developer. And then there's the game control protocol, which is systems : / and this gives you the ability to quit the game with a confirmation. You can log out of the current save file, you can log into another save file, you can create a new user, you can open the system settings, you can open a location in the file browser, like the actual system file browser, so you can view save files, you can view a specific save file, you can open the mods directory, you can open the screenshots directory, you can open the install directory, the logs directory, the user data directory. You can cause the game to panic, which is a crash screen. And then this is the end of the wiki. Now there's going to be more, likely, because I'm going to be adding more features to the game. But you can get an idea of what this is going to be capable of just using these URLs. You can pretty much navigate anywhere in the game. And I'm really proud of this system. Now, the other thing that's really neat about this is, remember when we were in that email, when you're using Text Mesh Pro links, typically they're not styled like this. this is something socially distanced doing for you, and it's making the link look blue and underlined. Eventually, it will also have a hover cursor and stuff like that, and I might even add tooltips depending on what kind of link you put in here. But by default, when you use the link tag in TextMesh Pro, it doesn't actually style it like this, which I think is annoying, by the way. But, you know, to each their own, I guess. But the game will actually style them blue like this, which is really nice because it really does look like a hyperlink. It is a hyperlink in this case because it takes you to a specific website. But, yeah. I'm really excited for this, and I hope you guys are too. This is just one of the things that's coming in the 24.04 devlog, which is the April 2024 devlog. I still have to write that devlog. I'm going to be doing that throughout tomorrow, most likely, after I fix some remaining bugs. But, yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys learned something. And hopefully you guys, if you're a mod developer, are inspired to mod the game when it comes out. Because I'm excited to see what you guys come up with, what kind of custom stories you build with this thing. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. As always, I'm Michael, even though everyone calls me Richie. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. I did not stream deck hard enough.